When we lived in Swanee when I was in seminary, we lived right down the street from another seminarian family. And it was really nice because they had 4 kids, and 3 of those kids were almost the exact same age as mine. So the kids would go down and play with their friends, and it was really nice. So one day, Izzy, my youngest, who was about 8 years old at the time, she went down to go see if her friend Autumn could play. So she goes down there, and I knew, if Autumn wasn't there, she'd come right home, but I knew if Autumn was there, she'd probably stay there playing. Well, after a little bit, in comes my eldest son, Spencer, and he's got Izzy with him, and she is just crying. She is crying. And what's going on? I got stung by a wasp. Yeah, poor Izzy. No, getting stung by a wasp stinks. But what happened was she went down there. Autumn wasn't home, and on her way out, there was apparently a wasp's nest that was like a ground wasp or whatever over by the driveway, and so it stung her. She stood there crying. She didn't go anywhere. She just stood there crying. And then Spencer, my eldest, went out to ride bikes, and he saw her. Now, she was within viewing distance of the house. All she had to do was walk home, and I could have taken care of her, but she didn't. She didn't walk home. She sat there crying. But then Spencer went and got her, brought her home, and of course, I mommed her up. I made sure to, I made sure that the stinger was out, and I put some ice on it, did things and I calmed her down, made her feel better. She wasn't having any anaphylactic shock. She was okay. But what dumbfounded me is that she panicked so hard that she just stood there. She was paralyzed. She did nothing. When help was right over there. All she had to do, she could see our house. She could have gotten help right away. But panic paralyzed her. Now in our gospel today, Peter panicked, right? He's like, Lord, if it's you, have me come and see you. So Peter got out, and Peter, started walking on water. But when he realized what he was doing, when he realized what was happening, and he got scared, he started to sink. He panicked. He panicked. So, Peter's human, as are we. We all panic sometimes. But Peter forgot something. Even if he started sinking, he knew what to do. Well, what is that? Do you remember what Peter's profession is? You can answer me.
I don't remember.
Peter is a fisherman. Oh, yeah. Peter is a fisherman. And not only is Peter a fisherman, he's a fisherman on the Sea of Galilee, which is a large lake in a deep basin surrounded mostly by hills. According to Wikipedia, the average depth of the Sea of Galilee is 84 feet. Do you think a fisherman on the Sea of Galilee, deep, deep sea, does not know how to swim? Peter knows how to swim. So when he starts thinking, but he's like, Lord, help me. He panicked, and he forgot he already had the skills he needed. He probably, if he would have gone down all the way, he just would have had to tread water and go, Lord, what's up? But Jesus didn't let him sink. Jesus reached out his hand, grabbed him up. Oh, if you need a little more convincing, probably shouldn't go back, but I will. If you need a little more convincing, in John 21, 3-8, it's a story about after Jesus was resurrected. Simon Peter said to them, I am going fishing. They said to him, we will go with you. They went out and got into the boat, but that night they caught nothing. Just after daybreak, Jesus stood on the beach, but the disciples did not know it was Jesus. Jesus said to them, children, You have no fish, have you? They answered him, no. He said to them, cast the net to the right side of the boat and you will find some. So they cast it, and now they were not able to haul it in because there were so many fish. That disciple whom Jesus loved said to Peter, it is the Lord. When Simon Peter heard that it was the Lord, he put on some clothes, for he was naked, and jumped into the sea. But the other disciples came in the boat, dragging the net full of fish, for they were not far from the land, only about 100 yards off. So it is no longer theoretical. They were 100 yards out. He jumped into the very deep lake and swam to the shore to see Jesus. So, when the water gets rough, when the bee stings you, when there's fear and anxiety, disease, pandemic, disquiet all around you, don't panic. Don't panic. Reach out your hand because God is right there. He's going to take it. He's going to lift you up. He's going to save you. Remember that God has equipped you. I mean, maybe your house is right down the street and help is right there. Maybe you already know how to swim, but God has equipped you. He's either given you the ability or put people in your life that can help you. So go take the help where you can find it. Your friends, your family, epidemiologists, healthcare professionals, mom. Be a blessing. Look around where you can grab somebody's hand that's floundering. They're around you. Make sure you don't miss God calling you to help someone out when they need it. And most importantly, you have to put yourself in God's hands or recognize that you already are in God's hands. You were baptized into God's family. You were baptized into it. You belong to God. God has you. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got you in his hands. And you know what? In his hands, that's where goodness and mercy are. In his hands, that's your safe spot. That's your refuge, your very help in time of trouble. No matter what is going on in this world, in your life, whether it's a bee sting, whether it's rough waters, no matter what, you are in God's hands. And that is the very best place that you can be.